In the last video, we saw a fascinating study that measured the quantity and the intensity of steps per day. We saw the ideal number of steps one should do in order to improve their health. If you didn't see that video, check it out right after this one in order to learn much more about the intriguing data. There is a link in the description. In this video, we will continue with the same study and we will dive into the step intensity data in order to understand how fast we should walk or run to achieve the most beneficial effect on our health. Let's jump in! So, in this study, we have the advantage of relying on an objective source of data, an accelerometer. The accelerometer measured the number of steps and the timing of each step. We can calculate the actual number of steps per minute. That way, we can figure out what the intensity of the walking or running was. The study has 3 different metrics to determine the walking intensity. Let's look at the first metric. But first, a disclaimer. These videos are not advice. I am not qualified to advise in the field of health, and anyone who wants to apply any practice must consult with professionals, such as a doctor. So, for this first metric, the study examined the first bout cadence, meaning the first identifiable stepping of more than 2 consecutive minutes at more than 60 steps per minute. Let's look at a graph I created to show the results. So, just like the last video, we can see the number of deaths per 1,000 people on the horizontal axis, and on the vertical axis, the number of steps per day. There are 4 levels of bout intensity. The first one is a very slow bout cadence, a rate of 60 to 76 steps per minute, which is very slow walking. We can see it on the orange bars, and as expected, the number of deaths goes down significantly as the number of steps rise. Now, hold on! Let's see what happens when we add the more intense cadence to this graph. We have 3 other cadences. A gray color is a slow cadence that is a little bit faster than the orange. Yellow is a faster cadence, and light blue is the fastest cadence with up to 155 steps per minute, which is really fast. So that is what happens when we add all those cadences to the graph. Wow! We see that all 4 different cadences have almost the same results. For example, we can see that the light blue color representing the fastest cadence has the same number of deaths per 1,000 people as we see with the orange color representing very slow walking. So, unlike what we might have thought, this data shows us that the intensity of the steps is not essential as long as we are doing enough steps. Now, let's briefly look at the second and third metrics. Those metrics calculate the peaks. The second metric selects the 30 highest cadence values and calculates their mean. So, using this metric, we can gain more information since the data we collected is spread through the day's peaks and not only in the first bout. Here is the graph of this metric. The third metric selects the 1 minute with the highest cadence value during a day. And here is the graph of the third metric. We can see that even with these new metrics, we get almost the same results. Again, as the number of steps increases, the number of deaths per 1,000 people decreases, with no significant influence by the intensity. However, we can see a slight difference in the metric that calculates the 30 highest cadences. Unlike the first metric of bout cadence that started from above 60 steps per minute, this time we have even slower walking of 18.5 to 56 steps per minute, which is incredibly slow. So we can find non-statistically significant evidence that it may be a little bit less effective to walk that slow. I want to mention that although the data in this study is quite convincing, I won't conclude that it isn't beneficial to do intense fitness. In the following videos, we will look at more research to understand it better. However, I learned from this study that even if we see that it is beneficial to do some intense activity, the most value we can gain is by doing more steps up to the optimal number, as we saw in the previous video. Take a few minutes to watch it now. The link is in the description. This study is great news for me, since I can do more steps at low intensity, and I find it harder to do long high-intensity training each day. Still, I'll do some high-intensity walking and running to succeed and do more than 12,000 steps a day on my busy schedule. We have more exciting studies in this series about fitness. Don't forget to click subscribe and click on the bell icon so you won't miss them. Also, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it, share it, and I'd be happy to hear your comments and questions. I'm Amichai Antebi. Till next time, have a lovely day!